There's no way. Look though, look. Players like this come around once, sometimes in our lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
There hasn't been
once in a generation, certainly.
But no player in NBA, in WNBA history, has had to deal with this.
The one thing I just don't like, and I don't care what people say, I feel like there's a lot of hate on Caitlin Clark, and I think because she's white.
When NBA legends speak, the sports world pays attention, not because they're forced to, but because they've lived through the battles, the championships, the controversies, and the evolution of the game itself. So when those same legends start speaking out about Caitlin Clark, it's no longer just a trending story. It's a moment. This isn't about some surface level compliments crafted for the cameras. It's about raw honesty, the kind of unfiltered truth that's often left unsaid. But now, it's out there. And when voices like Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley, and George Gervin step up and defend Caitlin Clark directly, even calling out the WNBA and its treatment of her, it sends a powerful message. These aren't bloggers, YouTubers, or talking heads. These are the giants who built professional basketball. And now, they're standing behind Caitlin, not just with praise, but with purpose. They're turning the spotlight onto the league, the media, and even the players, all of whom have treated Caitlin less like a rising star and more like a threat. And the question now is, can the WNBA afford to ignore them? Because this isn't just about one player anymore. It's about the future of the league. These legends are saying out loud what fans have been whispering for months, that Caitlin Clark might be the spark the WNBA has been waiting for. Some even compare her impact to Tiger Woods, a once-in-a-generation force. Others argue if she's not on the court, people simply tune out. And then there's the uncomfortable truth that some of the negativity surrounding her might not just be competitive fire, but something deeper. Words like jealousy, bitterness, and yes, even race are now part of the conversation, things no one wanted to say until now. Then came Jeff Teague, former NBA guard, who didn't sugarcoat anything. He didn't give a scripted answer. He spoke like a fan, blunt, real, and unfiltered. And what he said about Caitlin Clark, it hit hard. It was a wake-up call. This isn't just a spotlight moment for Caitlin. It's a reality check for the entire league. Because if the WNBA doesn't shift gears soon, it could lose the very thing it's been chasing for decades: mainstream, long-term relevance.
Nobody gonna watch basketball if she ain't playing.
When she's not on the court, nobody's watching. That single statement cuts through the noise louder than any headline or hot take making the rounds today. And it didn't come from a random fan or media personality. It came from former NBA All-Star Jeff Teague. He wasn't speculating. He wasn't exaggerating. He was being real. And for many, that truth hit hard. Teague, someone who's played at the highest level, openly acknowledged what much of the sports world is slowly realizing. Caitlin Clark isn't just attracting viewers to the WNBA. She is the reason many are watching in the first place. And make no mistake, his words weren't meant as flattery. They were an honest recognition of what true star power looks like. And Caitlin has it in abundance. Her impact isn't limited to highlight reels or scoring stats. She's become the engine driving attention, ticket sales, and TV ratings. The numbers back it up. But Teague didn't need data. He's seen enough to know what matters. And then he took it even further. He didn't just compliment Caitlin Clark, he essentially crowned her as the face of the league. This wasn't just support, it was a declaration. Caitlin Clark is changing the game.
She the best.
She's the best ever, bro. I don't care, bro. She's the best ever, bro.
So is she gonna be like LeBron with the stats?
Let's slow that down. That's not casual barbershop talk. That's a grown man who played at the highest level, putting Caitlin in GOAT conversations just 2 years into her professional career. And it's not just about numbers, it's what those numbers mean. Teague sees the game.
Let's take a moment to really think about what was just said. That wasn't casual barbershop banter. That was a former NBA All-Star, someone who's played against the best in the world, putting Caitlin Clark in the greatest of all-time conversation. And she's only just starting her professional career. And this isn't only about stats. It's about what those stats represent. Jeff Teague sees where the game is headed. He's not simply forecasting a successful career. He's talking about long-term dominance, the kind of dominance that fills stat sheets, wins championships, and brings in billion-dollar deals. What makes his words even more powerful? He meant every one of them. There was no smile, no sarcasm, just a genuine belief. And that matters because Teague isn't known for throwing out praise lightly. This is the same guy who once downplayed Kawhi Leonard's game after matching up against him. Jeff keeps it raw and honest. So when he says Caitlin Clark could be the LeBron James of the WNBA, it's not just a headline. It's a moment worth paying attention to. And the next legendary voice didn't even have to say much to prove how massive Caitlin's presence has become. Michael Thompson, a two-time NBA champion and the father of sharpshooter Klay Thompson, has been surrounded by greatness for decades. From locker rooms to championship parades, he knows what true star power looks like. So when he speaks about Caitlin Clark, you know it's coming from someone who's seen the real thing, up close and personal.
When I was in Indy, I didn't care about that. The only thing I remember about Indy is when I was leaving Cambridge Arena in the loading dock, Caitlin Clark walked right by me, and I froze. I didn't say hello to her. How about that? My favorite basketball player outside of Clay was right there in front of me. There she was, and I said, no, I can't do it. But getting back to your question, you're right. That's what I remember most about Indiana. Caitlin Clark was right there next to me.
He didn't get nervous around Michael Jordan. He didn't freeze up next to Magic Johnson. But when Caitlin Clark walked past him, he was left speechless. That's not just admiration, that's awe. Because this isn't about seeing another talented athlete. It's about witnessing a cultural shift. Something so powerful, it leaves legends of the game stunned. Caitlin Clark isn't just making noise in the WNBA, she's transforming it, redefining what's possible and capturing attention far beyond the court. And when someone like Michael Thompson, a two-time NBA champion and the father of one of the greatest shooters in history, says that Caitlin is his favorite player, it's not some headline for attention, it's validation. She's broken through every wall, men's and women's basketball, current players and former stars, fans and legends alike. Her impact is undeniable. And just when you thought the praise couldn't go any higher, it did. One of the most iconic names in basketball history, Magic Johnson, stepped forward. And he didn't just compliment her, he challenged her, and in doing so, handed her the crown. Because if anyone understands the weight of carrying a league, it's Magic. He did it all, with flair, with pressure, with doubters watching and fans following his every move. So when Magic Johnson talks about Caitlin Clark, it's not flattery, it's perspective. He knows exactly what it takes to become the face of a league, and now he's looking right at her.
They're going to be tested by these incredible women who've been in the league for a long time. Caitlin is the most popular WNBA player, but she's not the best at this time. Just like Larry and I were not the best when we entered the league. We became the best later on by our play. Caitlin still has to play great to become the best WNBA.
That's not criticism, that's a challenge. And coming from Magic Johnson, it's actually a high-level compliment because he's not just acknowledging Caitlin Clark's popularity, he's recognizing that her rise is following the same path as icons like himself and Larry Bird. Caitlin isn't being graded on a separate curve, she's now being measured against the greats. That's how much weight her presence carries. And the most important part, Magic isn't counting her out. He's saying, you've got the spotlight, now prove you belong at the top. It's not dismissal, it's motivation. But while Magic kept things respectful, not every legend stayed that composed. One Hall of Famer voiced what many fans have been thinking, but hadn't dared to say out loud. Reggie Miller, one of the fiercest competitors and sharpest trash talkers in NBA history, didn't hold back. Known for getting under his opponent's skin and delivering clutch moments, Reggie's always spoken his mind. And when he saw how Caitlin Clark was being targeted, he didn't preach patience or diplomacy. He wanted to see fire.
Now, what I would love Caitlin to do is get up one time and then just slap the out of her.
And no, that wasn't a joke. That was frustration not from Caitlin Clark, but from Reggie Miller himself. He sees what's going on. The constant physical contact, the reckless fouls, and the deafening silence from both the league and fellow players. And Reggie's message is clear. Enough is enough. When a player is driving viewership, filling arenas, and elevating your entire sport, you don't leave her unprotected. You stand behind her. You set a standard. And the fact fact that the league hasn't done that yet, that's exactly why Reggie is speaking out. It's not because he wants conflict, it's because sometimes the only way to get people to open their eyes is with a wake-up call, and someone else who knows how to deliver a message that hits hard without raising his voice is a 7-time NBA champion. Robert Horry is a man of few words, but when he speaks, it's sharp, measured, and it hits like a buzzer beater. So when Shaquille O'Neal recently suggested that Caitlin Clark should wait her turn, Horry didn't hold back. He didn't try to sugarcoat anything. He didn't back Shaq up. With one simple statement, he dismantled the entire narrative and reminded everyone that greatness doesn't need permission to shine.
Shaq said he loved Caitlin Clark, but, quote, she needs to wait her turn. Do you agree with the idea that great players, no matter how great they are, need to wait their turn? This was from Ben.
Hey, first of all, let's start off with Shaq. You ain't wait your turn.
Let's be clear, that wasn't just a response. That was a statement aimed directly at those who believe Caitlin Clark needs to wait her turn before earning respect. Corey Hightower isn't having it. He sees the reality. The WNBA is already benefiting from Caitlin's presence. The ratings, the ticket sales, the attention. She's at the center of all of it, and while some think she needs to prove herself over time, Corey sees it differently. He knows stars when he sees them, and to him, Caitlin's already done more in a matter of months than many have in their entire careers. She's not waiting, because there's nothing left to wait for. And if there was any doubt left, Paul Pierce made it even clearer. A former NBA champion who's faced some of the game's toughest moments, Paul knows pressure better than most. He's been in those high-stakes situations with the weight of the world on his shoulders. But even he admitted what Caitlin Clark is facing right now is unlike anything he ever experienced, and he didn't say that lightly. His words came from a place of experience and deep respect, a recognition that the level of scrutiny, expectations, and pressure surrounding Caitlin isn't just intense, it's unprecedented.
Players like this come around once, sometimes in our lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
There hasn't been
once in a generation, certainly.
But no player in NBA, in WNBA history, has had to deal with this, right?
What?
What she's dealing with.
What?
Like,
what is she dealing with?
Fouling from day one already, but she's been crowned. I mean, she's already nobody. Who was the face of the league in the first few years of the WNBA?
That hesitation in Paul Pierce's voice, it wasn't uncertainty. It was him searching for a comparison and realizing there isn't one, because Caitlin Clark didn't just join the WNBA. She became its centerpiece overnight. From major endorsements and surging ratings to daily headlines and intense public scrutiny, everything now revolves around her, and every player, whether a rookie or a seasoned veteran, is paying close attention. Pierce understands what it means to be labeled the next big thing too early. He's felt that pressure firsthand, but even he admitted Caitlin is facing a level of attention and expectation that goes far beyond anything he dealt with. And it's not just about basketball. There are deeper storylines at play. Conversations about race, locker room dynamics, league silence, and a relentless media spotlight. Pierce didn't say Caitlin has it all figured out. He didn't call her flawless. But what he did make clear is this: no one has ever had to handle this much this fast, and she's still holding her ground. And just when the conversation couldn't get more real, Kevin Garnett stepped in and took it to another level. KG isn't one for sugarcoating. He doesn't play politics, and he's never been afraid to speak his mind, no matter who it offends. So when he spoke on Caitlin Clark, he did what only he can do. He stripped away the filters and made it raw, powerful, and deeply personal.
It's a privilege, though. It's a privilege to be in a position where others are hating on you. And when others are hating on you, that means you're doing something right. You know what I'm saying?
Just a few words, Kevin Garnett flipped the entire conversation about Caitlin Clark on its head. While most people look at the criticism, the hard fouls, and the cold reactions and ask, why is this happening? KG looks at all of it and says, that's a good sign, because in his eyes, that kind of resistance doesn't come unless you're a threat. And Caitlin Clark isn't just another player. She's a complete disruption to the old guard, reshaping the league, the headlines, the business, and even the culture surrounding women's basketball. The pushback, that's just confirmation that it's all working. Garnett's been in that exact position before. The player everyone's watching, the one they love to challenge, the one they quietly hope will fail, but he's not offering sympathy. empathy, he's offering wisdom, and his message to Caitlyn is simple. If you're not facing resistance, you're probably not making an impact. But then another Hall of Famer stepped in and took things even further. This wasn't just about backlash anymore. It was about consequences. Rick Barry, one of the greatest to ever play the game, didn't sugarcoat his opinion. He didn't speak in circles or try to soften the blow. He called it exactly how he saw it. While others are just now admitting that Caitlyn Clark is being targeted on the court, Barry went beyond commentary. He called for action.
I think it's reprehensible what they're allowing some of these players. Anybody that does something flagrant to this young lady for what she's brought to the game should be suspended and fined big time for doing that.
This wasn't some viral hot take. It was a Hall of Famer calling out the league for failing to protect its most valuable player. Rick Barry made one thing clear. He's not saying Caitlyn Clark needs special treatment. He's saying the WNBA needs to take responsibility, because right now the league is allowing reckless, unnecessary contact against the one player who's done more to elevate the brand than anyone in recent memory, and they're acting like it's business as usual. This isn't just about physical play, it's about intent, about targeting Caitlyn not because of how she plays, but because of who she is and the impact she's having. And Barry sees through it all. He's not demanding favoritism, he's demanding fairness. Because let's be honest, if any other high-profile star, male or female, were being shoved, tripped, or taken down off the ball the way Caitlyn has been, there'd be fines, ejections, and league-wide statements. But when it happens to her, silence. Rick Barry didn't hold back. He called it what it is, a failure in leadership. And what's worse, some of the very players benefiting from Caitlyn's presence, from bigger crowds and higher paychecks, are the ones taking the shots at her. George Gervin, the Iceman himself, saw it too. Known for being cool, composed, and respected across generations, Gervin didn't let this slide. He didn't just speak on the hate, he spoke on value. Because no matter how anyone feels personally, the reality is this: Caitlyn Clark is raising the standard, the visibility, and the financial future for every player in the WNBA, even those trying to knock her down.
You know, think about it, y'all. I mean, you know, we're dealing with imperfect people, I mean, and you know, when you look at it, they don't know the value that she's bringing for all of them. She bringing, they flying private planes now. They weren't flying private before she came. They on major networks now. They weren't doing that. See, she remind me of Tiger Woods for golf.
Yes.
He changed the paycheck.
Let that comparison settle in. Tiger Woods changed golf, and now Caitlyn Clark is doing the same for women's basketball. And George Gervin, he wasn't finished yet.
Why ain't somebody, unions, making this an issue for these girls to say like, man, we need another Caitlyn Clark if we gonna be able to get all these benefits, because they didn't have it before she got into the league.
This wasn't just praise. It was a direct message to the league, the players, and even the unions. Caitlyn Clark is the rising force lifting the entire WNBA. She's the reason for upgraded travel, new sponsorships, and record-breaking audiences. And yet, somehow, she's also the one absorbing the most physical punishment on the court. The numbers don't lie, and George Gervin sees the imbalance clearly. She's fueling the league's growth, but getting treated like a target instead of an asset. And Gervin isn't alone in calling it out. Matt Barnes took it a step further, saying out loud what many have been thinking but haven't dared to voice. Known for his no-filter honesty, whether on the court, behind a mic, or on national TV, Barnes has never been afraid to speak the truth. And when he spoke up about Caitlyn Clark, he didn't just support her, he dropped a hard truth the basketball world couldn't ignore.
I think she has the Tiger Woods effect, the way he put golf fans in a craze. Whether you're a golf fan or not, you tuned in and you wanted to learn about the game because he was so incredible. I think she has that effect.
The respect was clear, but then he said what most others were too cautious to admit.
One thing I just don't like, and I don't care what people say, I feel like there's a lot of hate on Caitlyn Clark, and I think because she's white.
There it was. No sugarcoating, no vague suggestions. Matt Barnes said it plainly. He pointed out what many have been hesitant to address. Some of the backlash toward Caitlyn Clark has deeper layers. And yes, race is part of that conversation. Caitlyn isn't the first confident scorer. She's not the first guard to bring flash, swagger, or elite talent to the court, but she is the first white woman to be promoted as the face of the WNBA from the very beginning, and for some people, that shift in spotlight is uncomfortable. Barnes didn't bring this up to stir controversy. He brought it up because it's real, and it's something that's being discussed quietly behind the scenes. This isn't just about earning stripes or veteran toughness. It's about who's holding the torch now and how that makes certain people feel. He didn't need to defend it. The truth speaks for itself. And then came Isaiah Thomas, and he wasn't holding back either. Known for his elite basketball IQ, Thomas doesn't just see what's happening on the floor, he understands the bigger picture behind it. And when he broke down Caitlin Clark's game, he didn't focus on media noise or controversy. He focused on one thing, the basketball.
So what are they doing now? They're running. You see creativity, you see originality, you see all that stuff in transition now because the floor is spread. As soon as they get the ball, make a miss, they are out, man. They are out, filling the lanes, running their spots, getting to their spot. Why? Because they know Caitlin gonna give it up. That's the beauty that we're watching in basketball right now with Caitlin Clark.
This wasn't just praise, it was a full breakdown of influence and impact. Isaiah Thomas wasn't focused on Caitlin Clark's scoring totals. He was highlighting how her presence is reshaping the game itself. She's not just affecting how defenders react, she's changing how her own team moves around her. She's elevating the pace of play, creating space, generating movement, and unlocking new offensive possibilities, all while still in her rookie season and coming from someone like Isaiah, one of the smartest and most selfless point guards in NBA history. That kind of insight carries real weight. To him, Caitlin isn't just a shooter or a scorer. She's the engine that drives the team. And when a Hall of Famer breaks your game down like that, it's not hype. It's confirmation that your impact is real. Then came a voice from the grind, someone who knows the work behind greatness firsthand. Patrick Beverley didn't say much, but what he said spoke volumes. Known for his relentless defense, gritty mentality, and blue-collar approach to the game, Beverley doesn't give out compliments freely. He's built his entire career on effort, toughness, and outworking everyone around him. So when a player like that gives Caitlin Clark credit, you know it means something.
You know I say what's up, but I'm not the type to say what's up to interrupt your workout because I don't like people to interrupt mine. She can shoot the shit out of it.
And the WNBA assist leader this past year.
She can shoot the shit out the ball.
She's a great shooter.
And she's one of those workout people.
That one simple line, calling Caitlin Clark one of those workout people, was actually the highest compliment Patrick Beverley could give. For someone like Pat Bev, that label means everything. It means you're the type who shows up before sunrise, stays long after practice ends, and puts in the work whether cameras are rolling or not. And that's exactly how he views Caitlin Clark, a relentless worker who's earned every bit of what she's achieved. He didn't hype her up with flashy comparisons. He didn't try to spin headlines, he just kept it honest. To him, Caitlin has the shooting touch, the court vision, and maybe most importantly, the discipline. The kind of discipline that separates good from great. And that might be why some players struggle to accept her rise. They see the headlines, the packed arenas, the charter flights, the endorsements. But what they don't always see is the grind behind it all. Patrick Beverley sees it. He's lived it. And that's why he respects it. And then came the mic drop moment. Charles Barkley stepped up, and as always, he didn't hold back. Known for being bold, unfiltered, and brutally honest, Barkley has never shied away from controversy. But when he spoke on how the WNBA has handled Caitlin Clark, he didn't just make a statement, he sent shockwaves across national television.
These ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan, they cannot have this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they tried. People believe what we say on television. Just because people don't like you or your personality, they can't get on TV and slander you. It's just total bullshit. This girl is incredible. The number of attention, eyeballs she's brought to college and the pros, and for these women to have this petty jealousness, you say to yourself, damn, what is going on here? And the thing I love about her, she never says a word.
That wasn't just commentary, it was a wake-up call. Charles Barkley called out everything: the bitterness, the jealousy, the media spin, and a league that seems unsure how to handle the brightest star it's ever had. He didn't hold back. Caitlin Clark is the driving force behind the WNBA's recent surge. From upgraded travel and increased media attention to fan engagement like never before. And yet some responses have been anything but supportive. Cold reactions, on-court targeting, and dismissive attitudes as if she hasn't earned her place. Barkley's message: it was crystal clear. You asked for this moment. Now don't waste it. Because whether you're a fan or not, the facts speak for themselves. Caitlin Clark has already transformed the game, and if it takes legends like Magic Johnson, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, George Gervin, and Barkley himself to say it out loud, then maybe it's time the league and everyone watching really listens. They're not confused, they're not hesitant, and they're certainly not staying silent. Clark doesn't need protection, or she's proven she can handle the spotlight and the hits. But when NBA icons speak out, it's not just about her. It's about holding the system accountable. They're addressing what others tiptoe around: the double standards, the physical play, the lack of recognition, and yes, even the racial undertones. Matt Barnes called it what it is. Reggie Miller demanded a stronger response. Rick Barry asked for consequences. George Gervin made a comparison that shook the room, calling her the Tiger Woods of women's basketball. And Charles Barkley, he said the WNBA is on the verge of squandering its most important player in decades. So what more will it take? Caitlin Clark didn't just arrive in the league. She raised the bar. She turned quiet arenas into packed stadiums. She pulled women's basketball into the mainstream spotlight, not with drama, but with hard work, consistency, and undeniable skill. And now, the legends who built this game are telling today's players and decision makers to recognize what's happening, or risk getting left behind. Because what Caitlin's doing right now, it's not a trend, it's not a moment, it's the start of a legacy.